Have you ever done everything right? Switched to fresh salads, drank your green smoothies, cut out junk food, yet somehow your body still feels off. You wake up with puffy eyes, your ankles swell, your energy crashes halfway through the day, and you tell yourself it's just age catching up. But what if it isn't? What if those little signs are your kidneys whispering for help before they scream for it? Because here's the truth. Kidney disease is one of the quietest killers in America. It doesn't knock, it doesn't shout, it just creeps in while you're doing everything you think is healthy. You could lose up to 90% of your kidney function and never feel a thing until it's almost too late. That's why today's message is urgent. I'm Dr. Mark Ellis, and in this episode, I'm going to pull back the curtain on the foods millions of people believe are saving them, but are secretly sabotaging their kidneys day after day. And more importantly, I'll show you the simple swaps that can reverse that damage and protect your kidneys for life. By the end, you'll know exactly which vegetables heal and which quietly harm, so you can eat with confidence instead of fear. Because this isn't about trends or fads, it's about survival. And once you understand how your everyday healthy choices can either heal or destroy your kidneys, you'll never look at your plate the same way again. Let's start with something that sits quietly on almost every dinner table: tomatoes. Bright, tangy, full of life. The world calls them a superfood, the base of countless healthy meals. But what most people don't realize is that the danger isn't the tomato itself, it's what we turn it into. When you take a fresh tomato and concentrate it into sauce, paste, or ketchup, you're not just locking in flavor, you're multiplying its minerals. And for your kidneys, that concentration can become a silent overload. I once met a patient named Robert, a 59-year-old retiree, who believed he was doing everything right. Every Sunday, he made his own tomato sauce from scratch. No preservatives, no sugar, just pure health in a pan. But what he didn't know was that each cup of that homemade sauce packed almost 1,000 milligrams of potassium, nearly half the daily limit for anyone with weakened kidney function. Over time, that silent buildup began to take a toll. His lab tests showed potassium levels rising dangerously high. Then came the dizziness, fatigue, and irregular heartbeat. When his ECG flashed an arrhythmia, it wasn't from stress, it was hyperkalemia, a condition that can stop the heart without warning. Here's the science behind it. Potassium is essential, but too much in your blood disrupts the electrical rhythm that keeps your heart beating steadily. Your kidneys normally flush out the excess, but when they start to slow down from age, blood pressure, or early kidney disease, that balance falters. It's like overloading a circuit. The current becomes unstable, and everything connected begins to fail. The fix isn't cutting tomatoes completely, it's respecting their concentration. Robert learned to use just 2 tablespoons of sauce instead of half a cup, swapped pure paste for fresh diced tomatoes, and boosted flavor with basil, garlic, and parsley instead of salt. Within weeks, his potassium levels normalized, his energy returned, and he realized something powerful. Healthy eating isn't just about what you eat, it's about how concentrated it becomes. So if you love pasta night, keep it, but lighten the load. Because sometimes the line between nourishment and harm is as thin as 1 extra spoonful of sauce. Have you ever thought your healthy recipe might be overloading your kidneys without you knowing? Comment below, I read everyone. But only knowing this isn't enough, because there's another comfort food, far more common, far more deceptive, that carries even more hidden danger. And most people serve it at least 3 times a week without a clue. Stay with me, because what comes next might shock you. If tomato sauce is the silent overload, then potatoes are the comfort trap, warm, familiar, and quietly dangerous. They're in every home, every celebration, every healthy meal plan. Mashed, baked, fried, roasted potatoes feel like love on a plate. But for your kidneys, that comfort can come at a steep cost. 1 medium-sized baked potato carries nearly 1,000 milligrams of potassium, and its sweeter cousin, the sweet potato, can go even higher, up to 200 milligrams per cup of mash. That means 1 serving can push your kidneys past their safe daily limit in a single meal. When your filtration system slows down, whether from age, blood pressure, or early kidney disease, that extra potassium doesn't leave the body fast enough. It builds up silently, like water rising behind a dam, until one day the wall gives way. That's exactly what happened to Linda, a 64-year-old grandmother who thought she was doing everything right. She had cut sugar, avoided junk food, and loaded her plate with clean carbs, mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, and a sprinkle of olive oil. But one Thanksgiving dinner changed everything. Within hours, she felt lightheaded, short of breath, and her heart raced uncontrollably. At the ER, her potassium was off the charts, and the doctor's words froze her blood. "You're lucky we caught it before your heart stopped. It wasn't sugar or fat that almost killed her, it was potassium." Here's what most people don't know. Your kidneys are the body's gatekeepers for potassium, keeping blood levels between 3.5 and 5.0 millimoles per liter. When that balance breaks, potassium interferes with the heart's electrical rhythm. At first, you just feel weak or tired, but as levels rise, the heart's signal distorts like static, swallowing a radio station until it suddenly goes silent. The good news, you can still enjoy potatoes if you treat them right. There's a simple technique called leaching, which can remove up to 70% of the potassium. Peel and cut the potatoes into small cubes, soak them in water for several hours, then boil them in fresh water instead of baking or roasting. After draining, you'll have a lighter, safer version your kidneys can handle. Portion size is everything, just a quarter cup per meal, and never stack multiple forms in one sitting. Linda made those changes and turned her recovery into a ritual, smaller portions, leached potatoes and colorful low-potassium sides like cauliflower or cabbage. Her blood tests stabilized, her heartbeat evened out, and she said something that stayed with me, doctor. "I didn't need to quit my favorite food, I just had to respect it." And that's the real secret. It's not about restriction, it's about wisdom, understanding that even the most innocent foods can turn toxic when the kidneys are fighting too hard. So the next time you scoop a spoonful of mashed potatoes, remember this comfort isn't worth it if it costs your heartbeat. But only knowing this isn't enough, because the next vegetable looks like the ultimate health booster. Athletes swear by it. Wellness blogs worship it, yet it can quietly inflame and clog your kidneys from the inside out. Stay with me, because what's coming next will truly surprise you. If potatoes are the comfort trap, then beets are the fitness illusion, bright, beautiful, and praised everywhere for boosting blood flow and stamina. You'll see them blended in detox smoothies, splashed across gym supplements, even labeled as heart heroes on wellness blogs. But what if I told you that what helps your heart can quietly hurt your kidneys? That same red juice flooding your veins with nitrates might also be flooding your kidneys with something far more dangerous. Let me tell you about David, a 48-year-old fitness enthusiast who swore by beet juice. He drank a tall glass every morning before his workout, convinced it was his secret weapon. For 3 weeks, he felt unstoppable. Better focus, higher endurance, faster recovery. Then the crash came. It started as a dull ache in his lower back, followed by nausea and cloudy urine. His energy tanked overnight. When tests came back, his kidneys were inflamed, and scans revealed clusters of microscopic crystals blocking his filtration tubes. The diagnosis stunned him: acute oxalate nephropathy, kidney damage from excessive beet intake. Here's what the science shows. Beets are loaded with potassium, around 450 to 600 milligrams per glass of juice, and packed with oxalates, compounds that bind to calcium in your blood. When levels climb too high, they form sharp calcium oxalate crystals, scratching and clogging the kidney's delicate filters. Once those tiny cuts start, inflammation spreads fast, reducing kidney function in a matter of days. Studies have even documented healthy adults developing kidney injury after just 2 to 3 weeks of daily beet shots or powder supplements. Now, the body can handle small amounts of oxalates, but juicing and powders are a whole different game. They remove the natural fiber that slows absorption, turning one innocent vegetable into a hyper-concentrated chemical cocktail. Instead of helping your body detox, it ends up creating the perfect storm for crystal formation and inflammation. So what's the safe way forward? Moderation and pairing. Eat beets occasionally, not daily, and always with calcium-rich foods like yogurt or cheese. They help bind oxalates in your gut before they reach the kidneys. Avoid beet powders and pre-workout shots. They're not cleansing you, they're overloading you. David learned that lesson the hard way. After cutting out beet juice and focusing on hydration and balance, his kidneys slowly recovered. And he told me something I'll never forget: "Doctor, I was chasing health so hard, I didn't see I was breaking it." So the next time you see a glowing red smoothie promising power and purity, remember, not every bright color equals clean health. Sometimes the foods that look the most vibrant hide the darkest dangers. But only knowing this isn't enough, because the next vegetable doesn't just injure your kidneys, It can shut them down almost overnight. Stay with me because what comes next might be the most shocking food on this entire list. If beets can injure your kidneys slowly, rhubarb can strike like lightning. It's the kind of food that looks cheerful and harmless, bright red stalks, glossy leaves, the star of homemade pies and jams that remind us of childhood. But beneath that sweet, tart flavor lies one of the most dangerous plants you could ever eat if your kidneys are even slightly weak. Rhubarb is nature's master of disguise. Just 1 cup of diced stalks can contain more than 1,000 milligrams of oxalates, over 20 times what a vulnerable kidney can safely handle in a single day. Once those oxalates hit your bloodstream, they grab hold of calcium and form microscopic crystals. Imagine thousands of glass splinters cutting through your kidney's delicate filters, blocking flow, triggering inflammation, and sending pain rippling across your back. That's exactly what happened to Sarah, a 56-year-old teacher who loved baking for her family. One spring weekend, she hosted 3 gatherings in a row, each one featuring her signature rhubarb crisp. By Monday morning, she couldn't stand upright. Her lower back throbbed, she felt nauseous, and her urine turned dark and cloudy. At the hospital, her kidney function had collapsed. The diagnosis was acute oxalate nephropathy. Her kidneys were literally shutting down from crystal blockage. She spent weeks on temporary dialysis before recovering, and her doctor gave her one strict rule: no more rhubarb. Ever. The science behind that reaction is chilling. When oxalates flood the body faster than the kidneys can excrete them, they crystallize and fuse into razor-sharp clusters that slice through renal tissue. Cooking doesn't save you. In fact, baking rhubarb concentrates those oxalates per bite, making desserts like pie or jam even more dangerous. Unlike potassium overload, which builds gradually, rhubarb's attack is sudden. It can trigger kidney failure within hours. But you don't have to give up the flavors you love. If you crave that tart kick, swap rhubarb for safer kidney-friendly fruits like cranberries, strawberries, or apples. They offer the same refreshing acidity without the oxalate overload. And if you already have chronic kidney disease, high creatinine, or a history of stones, treat rhubarb as a red flag, not a treat. Sarah told me later, I thought something so natural could never hurt me. And that's what makes rhubarb so deceptive. Its danger hides behind nostalgia. It teaches us that in the world of kidney health, even sweetness can turn deadly if you don't know the science. But only knowing this isn't enough, because the next vegetable doesn't just attack once it hits from 2 sides at the same time. Stay with me, because what comes next is a double-edged green that most people think is a superfood until it backfires. If rhubarb is a single bullet to your kidneys, Swiss chard is a double shot. It's that gorgeous, leafy green sitting proudly in salads and juice bars, glossy emerald leaves, rainbow stems, and a health halo so bright that most people never question it. After all, how could something this green, this natural, be dangerous? But for your kidneys, Swiss chard is a hidden overload, hitting from 2 directions at once: potassium and oxalates. 1 cup of cooked Swiss chard can carry nearly 1,000 milligrams of potassium, almost as much as a baked potato, plus over 200 milligrams of oxalates, more than enough to send a weakened kidney into chaos. Think of it like asking a marathon runner with a sprained ankle to sprint uphill while carrying weights. Your kidneys are already filtering blood, balancing electrolytes, and managing toxins. Now they're forced to juggle an excess of 2 compounds that both demand their full attention. That's exactly what happened to Michael, a 62-year-old retired engineer who went plant-based after his doctor warned him about cholesterol. He replaced meat with super greens, especially Swiss chard, sautéed in olive oil and garlic every single day. He felt proud, lighter, healthier, until his blood tests said otherwise. His potassium had skyrocketed, his energy plummeted, and a scan revealed his first kidney stone. The very vegetable he thought was saving his life was quietly overloading it. Scientifically, it makes perfect sense. High potassium in the bloodstream causes hyperkalemia, which interferes with the heart's electrical rhythm, while oxalates bind with calcium to form sharp crystals that block urine flow and scar kidney tissue. When both rise together, the kidneys are forced to fight on 2 fronts, maintaining the heartbeat while clearing toxic buildup. It's a biochemical tug-of-war that even the strongest organs eventually lose. Cooking helps a little boiling. Swiss chard can reduce some soluble oxalates, but potassium remains stubborn. And juicing. That's even worse. It concentrates, both turning a handful of leaves into a chemical storm in a single glass. The solution isn't panic, it's rotation. Swap Swiss chard for safer greens like cabbage, kale, or lettuce, all naturally lower in potassium and oxalates. Mix your greens, give your kidneys breathing room, and remember that more isn't always better even when it comes to vegetables. Michael made that switch, and within weeks his potassium normalized and his energy returned. He told me, "Doctor, I learned that health isn't about eating what's trendy, it's about eating what my body can handle." And that simple mindset shift probably saved him from a lifetime of complications. So yes, Swiss chard may look like nature's gift, but for vulnerable kidneys, it's a ticking time bomb wrapped in green. But only knowing this isn't enough, because the next vegetable wears an even shinier crown, celebrated worldwide as the king of greens. Yet for your kidneys, it might just be the most dangerous of them all. Stay with me, because what comes next could change everything you thought you knew about healthy eating. If Swiss chard is a double hit, spinach is the silent assassin. It wears a crown in the wellness world, low in calories, high in nutrients, hailed by health influencers and even baby food brands. You'll find it in smoothies, salad soups, even detox plans that promise to cleanse your body in a week. But here's the dark side for your kidneys. Spinach can quietly become the most dangerous green of them all. Spinach contains some of the highest oxalate levels in the entire plant kingdom, around 170 milligrams per 100 grams of raw leaves. That's nearly 20 times more than a kidney can safely process in one day. Now think about this, nobody stops at 100 grams. When you blend spinach into a smoothie, you're not eating a handful of leaves. You're drinking the equivalent of 3 or 4 cups in one gulp. That's more than 2,000 milligrams of oxalates flooding your system all at once, enough to overwhelm even a healthy kidney. That's exactly what happened to Jennifer, a 34-year-old yoga instructor who thought she was living the picture of health. For 6 weeks straight, she made herself a green goddess smoothie every morning, fresh spinach, almond milk, and a dash of protein powder. At first, she felt amazing glowing skin, more focus, endless energy. But slowly the fatigue crept in, her lower back began to ache, and her urine turned cloudy. When she finally saw her doctor, the results were shocking: acute oxalate nephropathy. Her kidneys were inflamed, clogged with oxalate crystals, and her filtration rate had dropped so low, she was one step away from dialysis. The science behind it is brutally simple. Oxalates bind to calcium in your body, forming sharp calcium oxalate crystals that cut into the microscopic filters inside your kidneys. Each tiny wound triggers inflammation, and over time those scars build up, forming stones, reducing filtration, and eventually leading to kidney failure. Cooking can reduce some oxalates, but not enough to make spinach safe in large amounts, especially when blended raw. So what's the smart move variety? Rotate your greens, mix spinach with low oxalate vegetables like cabbage, lettuce, cucumber, parsley, or zucchini. And if you love smoothies, make them smarter, use smaller portions, alternate ingredients, and hydrate well. Your kidneys don't need another detox, they need a break. When Jennifer recovered, she said something that stuck with me. "I thought I was cleansing my body, but I was actually clogging it." Her story is a powerful reminder that too much of a good thing can turn toxic, especially when your kidneys are already under pressure. And here's where most people get it wrong. They think avoiding all vegetables is the answer. But that's not true, because while some plants can harm your kidneys, others can heal, repair, and even strengthen them naturally, gently, and powerfully. But only knowing this isn't enough, because the next part reveals the opposite side of the story, the vegetables that don't destroy your kidneys but actually defend them. Stay with me, because what comes next could be the difference between decline and recovery. After hearing how certain greens can secretly sabotage your kidneys, it's easy to feel cautious, even afraid of vegetables. But the truth is, not all plants are enemies. Some are gentle healers, quietly supporting your kidneys without overloading them. And one of the most powerful examples sits humbly in almost every grocery store: cauliflower. It doesn't look flashy, no deep color, no superfood label. Yet for kidney health, this plain pale vegetable is a quiet miracle. Cauliflower is naturally low in potassium, phosphorus, sodium, and oxalates, the exact combination your kidneys need to stay balanced. 1 cup of cooked cauliflower contains only about 88 milligrams of potassium and just 20 milligrams of phosphorus, compared to the 1,000+ hiding in potatoes or spinach. That's why nephrologists often call it the foundation vegetable for anyone with kidney disease. It gives your body nutrients, hydration, and fiber without putting stress on your filters. Think of it as a soft pillow for your kidneys, supportive, soothing, never heavy. I remember a patient named Margaret, a 67-year-old woman, who walked into my clinic feeling defeated. Her creatinine was rising, her energy was fading, and she was convinced dialysis was just months away. We didn't start with medicine. We started with her plate. We swapped her nightly mashed potatoes for creamy mashed cauliflower, just a little olive oil, garlic, and herbs for flavor. Within 6 weeks, her lab results began to shift. Her potassium stabilized, her swelling faded, and she told me something that brought tears to her eyes, doctor. For the first time in years, I woke up and my legs weren't heavy. Here's the science behind her transformation. Cauliflower belongs to the cruciferous family, rich in compounds like sulforaphane and glucosinolates, which reduce inflammation and activate detox enzymes in the liver and kidneys. These compounds help neutralize oxidative stress, one of the leading causes of kidney cell damage. In short, cauliflower doesn't just avoid harm, it helps your body fight back, rebuild, and renew. And it's endlessly versatile. You can roast it, mash it, steam it, or turn it into low-carb rice. It soaks up flavors beautifully, lemon herbs, garlic, or even a touch of turmeric. Every bite gives your kidneys space to breathe and time to repair. Margaret's story reminds us that healing doesn't always require sacrifice. Sometimes it just takes a smart swap. So if you've ever looked at your dinner and felt unsure whether it's helping or hurting your kidneys, start here. One simple change could be the turning point between fear and freedom. But only knowing this isn't enough, because there's another vegetable, vibrant, colorful, and surprisingly powerful, that doesn't just protect your kidneys, but also shields your heart. Stay with me, because what comes next might just redefine what eating for health really means. After discovering how cauliflower quietly heals from the inside out, let's bring a little color back to the plate, because not all kidney-friendly foods are dull or bland. Some burst with life, flavor, and protection all at once. One of my favorite examples is the humble red bell pepper. Bright, sweet, and crisp, it's not just decoration on your salad or stir-fry. For your kidneys and your heart, it's one of nature's most powerful shields. Most people underestimate bell peppers, thinking they're just extra crunch. But the red ones are different. They're low in potassium, phosphorus, and sodium, meaning your kidneys don't have to overwork to filter them, yet they're packed with vitamin C, beta-carotene flavonoids, and lycopene-4 antioxidants that fight inflammation and oxidative stress at the cellular level. And those two silent enemies, inflammation and oxidative stress, are the very forces that chip away at kidney tissue day after day. To put it in perspective, 1 cup of chopped red bell pepper contains only 250 milligrams of potassium, but delivers more than 150% of your daily vitamin C. That's not just balance, that's a gift. Because vitamin C doesn't just boost immunity, it strengthens blood vessels, improves circulation, and helps repair the very tissues your kidneys rely on. Let me tell you about George, a 61-year-old patient of mine with stage 3 chronic kidney disease and high blood pressure. He used to drown his meals in tomato sauce thinking it was healthy, but his potassium kept spiking and his blood pressure wouldn't budge. We made one simple change, swapped his sauces for roasted red peppers. He diced them into salads, blended them into soups, and used them as spreads. Within weeks, his potassium levels dropped to normal, his blood pressure fell by 10 points, and he looked at me one day and said, "Doctor, I finally feel lighter after eating." That's the beauty of red bell peppers. They're vibrant and delicious, but they also work behind the scenes, protecting your kidneys by reducing inflammation and supporting your heart, which in turn reduces the pressure on those fragile filters. Because here's something few people realize. Kidney disease and heart disease are partners in crime. When one weakens, the other follows. So if you strengthen your heart, you automatically protect your kidneys. And the best part, you can use red peppers anywhere. Slice them raw into salads, roast them for a smoky sweetness, or stuff them with quinoa and herbs for a complete kidney-friendly meal. They prove that eating for kidney health doesn't have to be bland. It can be colorful, joyful, and deeply satisfying. So the next time you crave flavor, skip the ketchup and high-sodium sauces. Reach for real color red bell peppers, the vegetable that doesn't just make your plate come alive, but helps keep you alive. But only knowing this isn't enough because the next ingredient isn't just about flavor, it's about transformation. It can lower your blood pressure, calm inflammation, and protect your kidneys from within. Stay with me because what comes next is small but mighty. The ancient healer science now confirms garlic. After the sweetness and color of red bell peppers, let's turn to something smaller, humbler, but infinitely more powerful garlic. For thousands of years, this tiny clove has been treasured not just as a seasoning, but as medicine. Ancient healers used it to fight infections and purify the blood long before modern science could explain why. And now research has finally caught up confirming what tradition already knew. Garlic is one of the most potent kidney protectors you can find in your kitchen. The magic lies in a compound called allicin, released the moment you crush or chop a fresh clove. It's the very source of that sharp, unmistakable aroma, but inside your body allicin transforms into something extraordinary. It acts as a natural anti-inflammatory antioxidant and mild blood thinner, forming a triple shield that defends your kidneys from three of their biggest enemies: inflammation, oxidative stress, and high blood pressure. Think of it like this: when your kidneys are under pressure, your blood vessels tighten, inflammation rises, and free radicals. Those unstable molecules begin damaging delicate kidney cells. Garlic steps in on every front. It relaxes the vessels for smoother circulation, neutralizes those free radicals before they can scar tissue, and soothes inflammation at the cellular level. Unlike some medications that can strain your kidneys, garlic supports without burden. One of my patients, Patricia, a 60-year-old woman with stage 3 kidney disease, experienced this firsthand. Despite medication, her blood pressure hovered around 150/95, and her energy was low. So we added 2 crushed cloves of raw garlic into her meals every day, letting them sit for 10 minutes before cooking to activate the allicin. 3 months later, her numbers told the story: blood pressure down to 135/85, inflammation markers nearly cut in half. She hadn't changed her prescriptions, just her food. The science backs it up. Studies published in the Journal of Hypertension and the American Journal of Nephrology show that regular garlic intake can lower systolic blood pressure by 8 to 15 points and reduce oxidative stress in people with chronic kidney disease. That means less strain on the nephrons, those microscopic filters that keep your blood clean. And here's the bonus: garlic gives you flavor without the salt. You can add it to soups, sautés, sauces, or even drizzle it over vegetables. Every time you choose garlic over sodium, you're not just seasoning your food, you're seasoning your health. So the next time you hold a garlic clove in your hand, remember that tiny bulb carries centuries of healing wisdom and modern scientific proof. Crush it, let it breathe, and let your kidneys breathe easier too. But only knowing this isn't enough, because the next vegetable doesn't just protect your kidneys, it teaches them to defend themselves. Stay with me, because what comes next may completely change how you think about healing from the inside out. After discovering garlic's powerful protective effects, let's turn to something quietly extraordinary: cabbage. At first glance, it might seem pale, humble, and ordinary, often just a side dish on your plate. But beneath its unassuming exterior lies a vegetable that does something few others can. It doesn't just protect your kidneys, it trains them to protect themselves. Cabbage is naturally low in potassium, phosphorus, sodium, and oxalates, meaning it nourishes your kidneys without adding extra load. But the real magic comes from a compound called sulforaphane, found abundantly in cruciferous vegetables like cabbage, cauliflower, and broccoli. Sulforaphane activates a built-in defense system in your cells known as NRF2. Think of it as flipping on your kidney's own internal repair switch. When activated, NRF2 tells your cells to produce antioxidants and detox enzymes, neutralizing toxins before they can cause harm. One of my long-term patients, George, had been battling chronic inflammation and early kidney decline. Instead of overhauling his entire diet, we simply added small portions of steamed cabbage 3 times a week in soups, stir-fries, or lightly sautéed with garlic and olive oil. Within a few months, his inflammation markers dropped. His energy improved, and his eGFR, a key measure of kidney function, edged upward. He looked at me and said, "Doctor, I didn't expect a vegetable this cheap to make me feel this good." The beauty of cabbage is that healing doesn't have to be complicated or expensive. Modern research in the Clinical Journal of the American Society of Nephrology confirms that sulforaphane-rich foods like cabbage reduce oxidative stress and even slow kidney function decline in people with mild to moderate CKD. Its high fiber content also supports gut health, allowing waste to exit efficiently, taking pressure off your kidneys naturally. You can eat it raw in coleslaw, lightly steamed with herbs, or sautéed with a touch of olive oil. Whichever way you prefer, your kidneys will thank you. Because real lasting healing doesn't come from extreme diets or miracle powders, it comes from simple, consistent choices that give your kidneys space to recover and defend themselves. And now, as we've seen the full spectrum from dangerous vegetables that silently sabotage your kidneys to the quiet heroes that protect and repair them, it's time to understand the final truth about what your kidneys really need to thrive. Stay with me, because what comes next could change how you approach every meal for the rest of your life. You've made it through the full journey, from the vegetables quietly sabotaging your kidneys to the ones that heal, protect, and strengthen them from the inside out. And here's the truth I want you to carry with you: small, consistent choices matter more than perfection. Every swap you make, mashed potatoes for cauliflower tomato sauce, for red bell peppers, or sprinkling garlic instead of salt, is a message to your body that you're listening, that you care, and that you want your kidneys to thrive. So here's my challenge for you today. Save this video, come back to it whenever you plan your meals, and subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on. Every week I share the latest medical insights, proven strategies, and practical tips to protect your kidneys, backed by real science and real patient stories. By following along, you're giving yourself the tools to stay strong and avoid complications that many don't even see coming. And finally, never forget this: your kidneys may be silent, but they're always listening. Treat them kindly, and they'll keep you strong for years to come. Each mindful choice you make is an investment in your future energy, your health, and your freedom. Keep going, stay informed, and remember, your kidneys are worth every ounce of care you give them.